And yeah, and then when Rockstar put the Sanctus in the game, they, the bike with the skull on it, they
Yeah.
did like a little like low key shout out to me when they did that. Had the dude on the bike with the mask on, talking about a middle aged man riding around shooting everybody up. That's me, right? So,
Yeah.
so I was really, and again, like I've been to Rockstar Studios, like I met a bunch of them. They took us out to dinner and stuff, and like this is something that I always tell people in the community that want to get down on Rockstar. Like the thing to understand is like the rank and file people who work at Rockstar are fans of the game. They're fans of game and they're legit game heads. Like so much so that they went and work at video game companies, right? And
Yeah.
they're like straight fans of GTA. They like different people within the community. They like different content creators. So people will sometimes be like, oh, you give Rockstar a pass on this or that, and I don't. I've gone very hard on them on many, many issues over the years, but I do stay respectful and try to keep my comments, sort of on like a business level for ways I'd like to see them improve because I know so many good people work over there. And the people who, like the rank and file people who work on the game are legit game heads. And I would just say, like, as you're making content going forward and that kind of thing, just keep that in mind that there are like literally people at Rockstar Games that are like coding nerds or whatever that are GTA fans and they might
Yeah.
watch your videos. And so like for me, like when we went down there and like got to tour the facility and kick it with some of them for a while, like they're running back like, oh, I like this video, I like that video, I like when you do this series, and I'm like, wait, what?
What?
like, you,
Yeah, they took it
you
like
guys
that.
watch Free Aim Savage like that? They're like literally like dropping different stuff. So, and again, I'm not like a big YouTube guy or anything like that. But like, so the
Yeah.
point is like that's how deep though those guys are in the community. They like what they like, and they're really about it. Like when we did a live stream with my club, they were literally like dropping stuff that we had done. Like we did a ceasefire when the Bikers DLC came out. We
Yeah.
put it out to the community and said, look, for 48 hours, nobody shoot. We've all been waiting years for this new content. Let's please just enjoy it as a community. There's no enforcing that. You can't make anybody do that. But I can tell you right now, like clubs that I personally had like serious beef with back in those days, even them I was seeing in lobbies, they were rolling up, throwing up a bro love like, yo, check out my new bike, right?
Yeah.
So that was a beautiful little thing that we did in the community. Well, Rockstar knew about that. I had no idea. How does Rockstar know that, right? And so, like, they're saying, yeah, when Bikers DLC came out, we saw that you put out a call to the community to, have a ceasefire. I was like, how do they know that? You know what I mean? But it's because they're just like game heads like the rest of us. They watch YouTube videos. They're on Twitter. They're on Instagram. So, like, you could have people liking your photos. You don't even know that you're impacting the future development of the game based on the way that you talk about the game and the things you say you'd like to see in it and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. They do pay attention, believe me.
Yeah. They're not that blue collar suit and tie, you know, type of business. You go in there and it's, a bunch of like minded individuals, just like ourselves that enjoy GTA.
Yeah, they love it so much. They do it all day, every day at work.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's a hassle trying to, keep up with it. Especially with
Yeah,
all
I
these new
wouldn't want.
updates they dropping.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we wrap it up, would it be anything like Cosmo or you want to add on?
One thing, it's not even really like related to anything, but earlier I think you said that shooting and combat is more like heavy metal, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah,
me, it's like John Wick soundtrack. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
dubstep
yeah.
and the upbeat kind of, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I thought that was funny.
Nah, I do, I
Cosmo
do. Yeah,
City.
no, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, no, but like if you look at my character with his skull and all that, and
The
stabbing people
Jesus.
up, and like yeah, and again, just I personally, I like that kind of music. Like when I'm feeling like aggressive or whatever. So I think it goes together nice.
Yeah. Um, I did. I thought that was very interesting though when you said earlier, kind of the community is not really like a community as much as it is kind of a subculture at this point.
Hmm.
Um, I am not OG by any means at all, and I don't claim to be. I am pretty damn new. I haven't even been in this community a year. Well, I guess subculture, whatever's politically correct.
Yeah, it's not that technical, but
But
I feel you.
yeah, but that was kind of a big eye opener for me. Kind of hearing that, I was like, damn, I never really thought about it like that. You know what I mean? Because I'm not that experienced. You know what I mean? So hearing that for sure makes me kind of think about other times where I've kind of seen things like that, where it's like something super popular, then it dies off, kind of, or it kind of fizzles into like kind of just a group of like fanatics, or maybe it's a watered down version of what it might have been before. You know what I mean?
Yep, for sure.
There's like a pretty specific instance, that I could call to mind from real life is when that movie Kick-Ass came out.
Mm-hmm.
That was that whole thing with the real life superheroes and like I guess so like proclaimed vigilantes and things like that. And that was like a really kind of big thing around that time when that movie came out, and like people were doing some like really good shit, in that community, and it's still kind of around today, but really not as much as it was before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't help but feel it was almost an homage to what happens with the MC community on GTA. I feel like there's still a possibility for a safe haven, but I feel like everybody has to kind of come together as a collective to sort of agree on universal terms. I don't really know where I was going with that for the most part, but shit.
No, I
Yeah,
feel you, and
yeah.
I think I think it's like anything. You can like, and we, you mentioned that particular movie and that particular community from real life. You can apply that to almost anything. You take something that's small and authentic and different and has real value, and you're gonna have like a hardcore group of people who are attracted to it because they recognize it, right? It's the whole real recognize real thing. Like you see somebody coming up, and you're like, hold, like, this is gonna sound silly, but like I always think of like XXS Tentacion, right?
Yeah.
That ex kid. I remember the first time I saw one of his videos, I was like, that's different. Like it was like a live, like a club video inside, and I was like, the energy, the electricness, like, oh my God, like that is something very special and something very different as that kid is coming up. And I hate to say this because it's sad that he's gone, but like if he was still around today, how many more people would have been attracted to him and his movement and what he was doing, and how different would it become as corporations got involved and try to maximize, sort of the spread of that message to draw in more people, because with more people comes more clout, comes more money, comes more whatever, right?
Right.
You see that in all kinds of things, whereas that initial community that he had developed as an artist with people who really appreciated him for who he was, and just really loved that new vibe that he was bringing, relative to now all of a sudden it blows out and you stop bringing in people who suck. They're not really there just, to vibe with the music and that kind of thing. They're just like latching on to something pure and beautiful and diluting it. And maybe that's not the best example, but it's an example we can all relate to, because you can see it across any number of different things that come down the pike that are beautiful and new and special, and have their own, sort of unique, sort of highly committed group of followers. And then as it becomes popular, it becomes diluted and it gets cheapened as more and more people flock to it and dilute it further. And I hate to say it, but like in a lot of ways, that is what happened in the GTA community. I'm not saying that there aren't beautiful people and wonderful things going on in the community, because there certainly are. There are some very official clubs out there. There are some wonderful people who have really tight bonds of friendship within their clubs and that kind of thing that still goes on today. All I mean to say is, like, over time, because it was so special and so unique and so beautiful, it attracted a whole bunch of dummies, basically, and they just want to be part of something that they think is cool or whatever, or fun or whatever. and it has kind of diluted over time. So that's what I was saying before is if there were clubs that got together and wanted to be really committed and make it not big but smaller, not get everybody together, but just get a select few together. Take that
Small
as
and
your foundation and
concentrated.
as your base. Yeah, concentrate it. Get it down to the to the good stuff. And from that concentrated base, maybe build something out with just a handful of clubs, handful of people, whatever. I think then you could carve something out for yourselves. Maybe you do private lobbies with 3 or 4 clubs. Every club can only have 5 members or something like that. Whatever it is, but like something small and special and committed, and then grow from there. Rebuild basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's definitely the key is being unique. You know what I mean? Because it was mentioned earlier with all these fucking raggedy ass copycat clubs of like Hell's Angels. Oh yeah, we're here to shoot folk. We don't take no kind of shit. You know what I mean? That's such a dumb ass mentality to have. You know, to
Yeah.
join
Yeah,
this like cookie cutter copycat ass like fucking.
yeah,
You know
The
what I
wrong
mean? It's
impression
not
of it.
special. It's not unique. It's something that's been done hundreds and hundreds of times. It's
yeah.
watered down. You know what I mean?
That specific example, yeah, that's gross. Just taking somebody else's name and riding off of that. I've never respected that. The beef thing though is real though. Like especially if you got a bunch of young men, right? Bunch of young men. That's part of like the shooting and combat aspect of it is a huge part of the community. Always has been. The challenge is how do you do it in a clean and honorable way, in a way that like doesn't reward bad behavior, because that's like even on the first gen consoles, you would have clubs who would cheat, and other people coming into the community are like, oh, I want to join the most badass club, right? That can shoot the best or whatever. And they go over there with their modded accounts and all of that, and that just grows because they're being rewarded for the wrong things. You have to have a culture with gameplay and playing with good, solid internet connections, not doing, shady stuff and that kind of thing. And again, if you can reward that kind of behavior, then you can have something that's special and have the beef and the combat. But at least at that point, you're really recognizing, who's doing it right and who's not. So yeah. Anyway, not to go off on that tangent again, but yeah, it's got to be clean. It's got to be clean and fair and fun, and nothing wrong with a little beef as long as it is.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Well, that ends
shit.
it for the fourth episode of Chatting and Gaston. Really appreciate you coming out, man. Really an honor to be here getting this interview.
My pleasure.
Let's
And hey,
fucking go.
it was just my personal opinion. I don't claim that to have all the knowledge about everything, so don't, I hope nobody is gonna like looking and be like, oh, well, what about this and what about like it's a huge diverse community. I'm certainly not the authority on anything, but I really enjoyed sharing some of my memories and sort of my perspective on things I've seen in the community. So thank you so much. It was a lot of fun for me.
Definitely, man. All right.